In today's video, we're going to dive into the comment section and answer one of your questions. And if you want a question answered in the future, make sure you comment down below. This comes from Steven Jacobs, and he says, "Hi TJ, would love to hear your thoughts on how to improve ball contact and hit more greens from 75 yards and in. I struggle a lot from this distance, chunking and thinning the golf ball. Please help." I think I can help you. I actually had 5 lessons this past week on this exact topic. And I'm actually going to insert one of the lessons into this video towards the end, so stay tuned there. But let's head to the lesson tee. Let's get better at 75 yards and in, get you compressing the golf ball, and have a lot more control and precision with this shot. Now, I know Steven is not alone when he asked that question. I know there's a lot of you out there of all handicap levels that need to improve from 75 yards and in, 100 yards and in. These approach shots that a lot of players think they should be hitting 100% of their greens. Well, in reality, in 2024, the PGA Tour averaged 89% greens in regulation from 75 yards and in. That's 89% averaged. There's some players that were much better, some players that were much worse. So we have to have the proper expectations. We are not going to hit every green possible from 75 yards and in. I want to give yourself, though, the greatest opportunity to consistently strike the ball as close to the same way every time, to give you a chance to improve your greens in regulation and also to lower your scores. So the first thing we have to understand 2 concepts. We have to understand low point, and we also have to understand arc depth. So what low point is, it's simply the lowest point in your swing arc. And where is the lowest point in your swing arc? So this hula hoop represents your golf swing. It's a simplified version of your golf swing. And you'll notice I have some tape at the bottom. That tape represents the low point of the swing arc. So for this type of a golf shot, just like most golf shots with, say, irons and even hybrids and fairway woods, we want the lowest point to be after the golf ball. So we want to strike the golf ball first before the club reaches the bottom of the arc. Now that's one piece of the puzzle. The second piece of the puzzle is arc depth. How deep in the ground is that arc? Because that's ultimately going to affect where the club enters the turf. So for example, with all things equal, if I just place this arc on the ground and I put the low point after the golf ball, that is where the golf club is going to reach its lowest point. Now, what if I took this and I put this ball here, and I put that low point in the same exact spot? So it's after the golf ball. Now, what if I lowered the depth of that arc? Notice where this golf club is now entering the turf. It is now entering further back behind the golf ball, which means I'm probably going to chunk the bananas out of this thing. Now, if I raise the arc depth too high, low point's in the same spot, but I'm probably going to thin or top this golf ball. So low point control combined with arc depth control equals solid contact as long as the low point is in the right spot. We can also have a low point. A lot of players talk about the low point behind the ball. My low point's behind it, I strike the ground behind it. Well, if the arc depth is deep, like I just showed you, you may hit behind it too, even though the arc depth or the low point's in the right spot. But there are a lot of players that the low point is too far forwards. They start to strike the ball more thin. So I'm going to cut towards the end of this video to a live lesson that I filmed, and this particular player was struggling with low point being too far out in front because of some dynamic movement issues. So how do we get better at low point control and arc depth? Well, I'm going to give you a very simple 3-step process, which is going to help you hit the golf ball more solid, more often than not, get a more predictable ball flight, distance control, and ultimately hit more greens. Sorry to interrupt, but if you are getting something out of this video, consider subscribing, hit that like button. My hopes is to use my 25 plus years of teaching and coaching experience to help players like you out there have a little more fun in this game. And if you do have a question for me and you want me to answer it in a video, comment down below. Let's get back to the video. First step is you have to have a proper setup. So this type of a shot, where this is not a full swing shot. This may be a 3/4 swing shot. This may be a half swing shot. You know, reel and feel come into play here. What is a half swing? What is a 3/4 swing? Everybody may feel different in terms of where the club actually is. But this isn't necessarily a full swing shot. So we want to create a little bit more compact setup. So we want the feet a little bit closer together. We want to take that front foot. We want to turn that front foot out ever so slightly. Now from here, we want to start with the ball position in the middle. And I say start because this is something we have to create a proper matchup with. So if we start to notice, and you'll notice this in the live lesson where I did move the ball position a little bit to get a better matchup, the ball position has to match your swing circle, which is going to match low point and arc depth. So ball position is something you may ultimately have to play with a little bit, but to start, let's have it in the middle. We need to have our hands slightly forward off the inside of our lead leg, and here is the key with our setup. We need to have a little more force and pressure into the lead side. So if 50-50 is balanced, I want you to have about 51, 52, 53, maybe up to 55% of your pressure into that lead foot. So I have my hands slightly forward. I have a little more pressure into my lead foot here. So that is my established setup. Again, stance width, relatively close to each other, not too narrow, not too wide, relatively close to each other. Front foot turned out just a little bit. Ball in the middle to start, hand position forward, pressure up to 55% into the lead side. I want to make sure you're not leaning to do that. All you're going to be doing is creating force down into the ground. And once you've established that, you have established your setup. Step 2 is all about your pivot and how you rotate off of the golf ball. So by getting my hands slightly forward and the pressure slightly forward, I have essentially moved the center of my pressure in front of the golf ball and my center of mass slightly in front of the golf ball, which is going to help move the low point to a point where it is ball first, then turf second. So the low point is going to be after the golf ball. Now, how do we maintain this position? Well, it's all about step 2, which is the pivot. So once I get into that position, as we take the golf club back, we want to feel our trail hip working in. We want to keep the pressure and the weight underneath our trail foot on the inside of our trail foot as we rotate. This is a piece of the puzzle that a lot of people struggle with. As soon as the club goes back, they start to drift to the outside of that foot. The pelvis starts to travel laterally too long before any type of rotation occurs. This shot is not a big full swing shot, so you have some compressed time right now. We want to eliminate as much of that motion as we possibly can. So we're going to work our trail hip back. As the club goes back, we're pivoting in. My center, for the most part, is staying in the same spot. I don't want to dive forward as I do that. I am literally just going to pivot in. Now, I feel pressure still in my lead side at this point. I'm not moving to the trail side. I'm feeling it in that lead side. From here, we're going to move into step 3, which is going to help control our arc depth, which is what we call extension. So what extension is, so we have our pivot off of the golf ball. We have pressure into the lead side. Our lead knee is in slight flexion at this point. And as I transition, I'm going to transition up as I rotate through. And what I mean by up, that lead side is going to work up as I pivot. So if I show you from this angle, get into my setup, create this pivot off of the golf ball. My lead knee is in a little bit more flexion at this point. Now I need to get out of flexion, so as I pivot back through and I rotate back through, this lead knee is going to work up and I'm creating extension. So where I see a lot of players fail at this point, they may have the setup correct, they may have the pivot correct, but what ultimately happens is they don't come out of flexion early enough. And when they don't come out of flexion early enough, one of two things are going to happen. Number one, you're going to drift. So you're going to lose that lead side brace at that point. You're not going to be able to pivot. You're not going to be able to rotate. But also your arc depth is going to get too low. Think about it. If my knees are too deep in flexion, what's happening? I'm getting closer to the ball. My swing arc, now I'm exaggerating, is going to enter the ground much earlier than if I was taller with the same swing arc. That's where the arc depth control comes into play. We need to have extension of that lead side. That helps you create side bend, that helps you create rotation, and ultimately putting the setup, the pivot, and the extension together is going to help you control low point and arc depth, which is going to give you the greatest chance to strike this ball consistently every time. But will you hit greens every time? Stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to give you a bonus tip on hitting greens with these wedges from this distance.
Like, I feel like that's how I hit it thin, right? But I think we got away with it. I mean, that's fine. We'll take that every time.
Again, here's the reason why. If I break the plane and I go forward, again, the plane is my lead side.
Yep.
If I break the plane and go forward, my circle is going to go forward.
Yeah.
With all things equal, number one, I'm going to hit thin.
Yeah.
Because, put this down here.
Yeah. Yep.
But if you have a flat spot, you'll get away with it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because the angle of attack won't be like super steep. If this was like a pure circle, it's going to be very steep angle of attack.
Yeah.
Like, measurably.
Okay.
Like an impact. Our numbers will look
okay.
like.
We want that bottom of the circle like right ahead.
We want the bottom of the circle back here.
Yeah.
Because again, that'll give us an opportunity for the club to dive a little deeper as it goes through, and you can hit it a little more higher vertically on the face overall.
Yep.
But it all goes back to that lead side.
Yeah.
If that lead side is a lot more of a brace as opposed to kind of a drag, when I drag, my hands go with me.
Yeah, it's making the punch versus that. Like, you don't want to punch like that, right? You're not going to get the power.
Right, but but really, it's you have a good circle. Like, you have a good circle.
Yeah.
It's just taking that circle though and going this way with it. So the width of my hand. So you coming into the ball there, you have good width. You have good structure. You haven't done anything funky. You're not out here. You're not too far down. You're not here. You have good width. But if you lose the brace on the lead side, you see how my hands are exaggerating.
Yep.
My hands are going this way. So now, at this point in the downswing, your hands are essentially on top of the ball.
Yeah.
So by the time you rotate through, you create extension. Your low point's going to be way out here.
Yep.
Which means you're going to catch a lot of these thin.
Yeah. Yep.
Does that make sense?
Makes total sense. Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift, right?
You don't want to know Tokyo drifting.
Tokyo Drift. No, and that leads to them going right too, doesn't it?
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Because think of the face. Not only is the body working this way. I mean, this is why golf is so hard. We got for lack of better terms, we got a circle going this way.
Yeah.
We have a body going this way. We have a body going this way. Like there's a lot of geometry going on that have to match up.
Totally.
So what I want you to feel here is I want you to feel a little bit more vertical force at address.
Okay.
So I like your setup as a whole, but I want you to feel a little bit more vertical force into the lead side. So you're almost going to feel like you're, if you have a sponge underneath your left foot, you're almost trying to just squeeze the water out.
Squeeze it out.
I don't want you, and this is one of the pieces of the puzzle that I try to be careful of how I say this. I don't want you leaning.
Yeah.
I want the force there. Now, your center will work a little more this way.
Yeah.
But this is going to create a kind of a natural brace at address, and we're going to rotate around that brace.
Okay.
I just don't want you even to the point where when the club goes back, there's going to be a drift this way naturally.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to, because this is not a full swing, you're going to have to make up time and space by going this way.
Yeah.
So if we start there, create rotation there, I've already formed a brace
Yeah, I'm going back versus going out, right? You're
Bingo.
going like, yeah.
Bingo.
Okay.
Bingo. This is not a swing thing. It's not the circle of your swing. It's more of where your body puts the circle of your swing. So right there, go back to address.
All right. Yeah. Yep.
So feel like there's this is going to be a weird analogy, but feel like there's a weight like pushing everything
Yep.
down,
Pushing it
this,
down.
like
Okay.
pushing it this
Yep.
way. And you're just going to rotate around, or almost like a pole down there pushing you.
Okay.
And there you go.
Okay.
That's what I want you to feel.
All right. That was thin as hell, but we got away with it.
Do that again.
All right.
Same thing.
All right.
I want you to feel when you do that,
Yeah.
there is absolutely no movement this way.
No movement. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
So go to the, I'm going to stand right here. Go to the top and
All
stop.
right. All right.
Transition down. There you go.
Okay.
So you didn't go into me at all, right?
No.
Do that again.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Feel that? I don't
Yep.
care how good or bad you hit this one.
Okay.
That feel different?
Yeah.
That was very different, wasn't
Okay.
it? I know
Yeah.
you didn't strike it perfect,
Yeah.
but the way your body moved, that was very
That was
different.
better. Okay.
Now, here's the reason why you had that little kind of drift to it.
Yeah.
So,
Hung back a little bit.
no, not necessarily, but
Okay.
think of the swing. You have
Yeah.
to calibrate your delivery now with the swing.
Okay.
So, because your body was a little further back, this club started to exit left a little bit sooner.
Okay.
Not because you swung left sooner,
Yeah.
it's because of where your body was.
Yeah.
So all that is a little calibration.
Because I'm used to being this way.
That's right, that's right.
Yep.
And then you calibrate the path relative to where your body is at that
Okay.
point to, try to functionally hit a shot.
Okay.
Move the ball back just a touch.
Okay.
Just a touch.
Seeing my stances.
So now you're like middle-ish.
Okay. All right.
Same concept.
Okay.
Boom!
That one felt good. Tough action right there. Boom. That's what I want.
That
one
was
felt good.
perfect. So
Okay.
the geometry of the ball position matching how your lead side is moving
Okay. Yep.
is exactly where I want you.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
There you go. Those are two identical golf
Yeah.
shots.
We'll take those all day, right? Yeah.
And here's your bonus tip. You want to hit more greens? Stop aiming at pins. I don't care if you're 75 yards away, 50 yards away. Aim for the middle back of the green every time. You will hit more greens. I promise you. Stop aiming at those pins.